stock analysis. You'll probably see from the intro here that it's a special Asian edition, Chinese edition, trade war edition, whatever you want to call it. So what I wanted to do is just kind of follow up on the blog that I thrown out to my email subscribers, etc. yesterday. We've obviously reached a point with Asian stocks where they are now starting to move, and they are starting to move quite significantly. Now, obviously, as a technical trader, I have specific rules in place. So what's happened, obviously, over the last 12 months, I think we've all, picked up on the fact that there's been massive discounts available on a lot of these beaten down Asian stocks, but now they are starting to become interesting to me on a technical level. So I really wanted to share this with you this week. Obviously, as I go through this, just please take on board this. Very, very important. As always, just quickly read over that for 10 seconds. And I do have quite a few charts for you that I'm going to get through probably within the next 15 minutes or so. And obviously, do your own due diligence, as I always say. So if this is the first time that you've watched one of my analysis videos, please understand that it's not for everyone, okay? So who is it for, who it's not for? So if you're a day trader, if your setup looks remotely like that, then this is probably not for you. My time horizon is generally weeks to months. I would determine myself to be a trend based trader with elements of swing trading thrown in. So yeah, if you're a day trader and you're constantly in and out of positions and you're getting a lot of inconsistency and everything the day trading game gives you, then it's probably not for you. But who it is for is, for those of you that find yourself doing the Ronaldo, for those of you that are maybe learning from losses, feel like you're pushing a rock up a hill, maybe you're learning from YouTube. Whatever your deal is, if you just want a little bit more consistency and maybe you just want to pick up a couple of things from, technical aspects, then this is probably going to help you in some way. If you do like the video, if you do like the analysis, then please jump onto YouTube, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. I do throw out these to social media every now and again. So if you do want to receive these, then yeah, jump onto YouTube and give it a like and a subscribe. So rather than me just ramble on, I think probably the easiest thing for me to do is really just get started. Now, as always, I'm just going to quickly talk about the overall market and what's happening with the indices. First up, we've got the Dow. Clearly, we can see here that we're starting to push up against all-time highs. We're meeting a little bit of resistance at the moment. I think if we get above this next level, then certainly we do have to get over the next hurdle. But certainly, we are not in a bearish environment at the moment. Yes, we might get a little bit of resistance, we might get a little bit of a pullback in the market, but I think overall, if you're shorting this current market, then you probably need to have a look at yourself in the mirror. It's just certainly not supported by technicals, that's for certain. So next up, we've got tech. A couple of weeks ago, I did say that when we had this breakout here, that we would see this green arrow start to move towards that green arrow, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So tech has actually been a very good place to be. So yeah, there's nothing that I'm seeing in the overall market that isn't expected. The S&P 500 certainly stalled. Obviously, we've had this move above here, and that's been a catalyst for taking buy positions in the market, in my view. Obviously, the concern at the moment is the Dow. We're meeting resistance at the moment, but again, even if we do get a little bit of a pullback, I don't think it's something to be overly concerned about at this moment in time. I think we obviously always have to reevaluate what the market's telling us. We can, flip our thesis at a moment's notice, and you really do have to be flexible, and you do have to understand what's happening with the broader market in order to be successful in identifying the individual components that you want to make money on. And when I say individual components, I'm really talking about stocks. So that's really what I'm seeing with the overall market. Now, obviously, with this being an Asian edition, air quotes, I do want to touch on one of the areas that I like to observe when I'm going through Asian Chinese tech stocks, as you can see up here. Obviously, when we had the trade war, most of the Asian stocks got beaten to death. Now, when we have areas that start to break down, often they offer opportunity. Now, certainly, there's areas, you could technically have moved in on some stocks down here. We have started to move through the levels, and now we have a very definitive trend in place. Now, what that really tells me is that we're starting to come towards the end of the trade war, shall we say. I don't really care what's happening in the news. I don't care about Trump's talks with China and so forth. What I am concerned about is price, and price tells me everything that I need to know with the market. So what I'm seeing at the moment is, the Chinese tech stocks are obviously starting to move. We're breaking above key levels in the market. So that for me is now the catalyst for going to start hunting for some of these tech stocks, these Chinese stocks that I feel like could be exploited for very healthy gains in the market. So that's really what I'm seeing in the overall market at the moment. So you're probably wondering, Sam, tell me what stocks should be on the radar. So I've probably got about 10 stocks that I feel like you should consider. And we're going to start off with Win. Now, I understand that Win may not seem like it's a stock that's aligned with China, but there's actually quite a big presence with Win casinos in China. And as we can see, they were massively affected. Now, there was a combination of news events regarding Steve Wynn, etc. I totally get it. But again, there's a very direct correlation with this chart and most of the Chinese tech stocks that I'm also going to be talking about. So Win is certainly one of those that's close to breaking out. Obviously, if we observe it, it's 52-week high when it just couldn't get over the $200 hurdle. I think there's a decent risk to reward being offered there. I think we can be bullish provided the 200 SMA holds as some sort of support. So certainly Win Resorts is one that I feel like should be under a little bit of consideration. Next up, we've got JD.com. Again, I'm looking for the best opportunities, and certainly JD.com, in my view, it offers that. I obviously would like to see support here hold after this breakout that we've had here. So certainly, I think 70% upside potential, really speaks for itself. There's an incredible risk to reward opportunity there. So for me, JD.com is one that I feel like you should probably do a bit of due diligence on and, make sure that it fits with, any trading plans and rule sets that you have there. Next up, Huya. Again, very, very similar to JD.com. I would like to see it break out above $30. I think above $30 we can be bullish. Before $30, certainly, it's a case of just maybe managing your current position if you're in it. I think you've, very clearly got a bit of a profit target there at $30. But I think above $30, I think it does start to move through the levels again, and hopefully it can get back to its former glories around $50. Again, if it gets above that, excellent risk to reward proposition being offered. Next up, we've got YY. Again, it's starting to move. I think at the moment, finding an optimal entry is a little bit challenging. So some of you that are maybe a bit on the conservative side might choose to move in above $100. But certainly, I think maybe above 87, 88, if we can get continuation of price here, then YY should certainly be under consideration. A lot of these stocks have been beaten down massively, so I think that's something to consider. Next up, we've got Balzan. Now, Balzan is a stock that I've done very, very well on. I think it must have been about 18 months or so ago now. And obviously, it's been on a huge decline with all of the Asian stocks. It's starting to move, but it's actually starting to stall around the 200 SMA, which is kind of what you would expect. I think if you get a move above that, though, I think it then starts to move. Obviously, we've got a good linear uptrend at the moment, but it really does need to clear this hurdle of the 200 SMA. It is absolutely valid at the moment if you feel like profit taking. But certainly, that's something for you to consider. I think for me to become bullish, it needs to move above the red line there. Next up, we've got Momo. Again, this pullback, in my view, today offers a little bit of opportunity. It could pull back a little bit more, but certainly I think above $40, I think we've got to be bullish on Momo. It's one of those, again, that's offering a decent potential return, risk to reward ratios, etc. So yeah, certainly with Momo, I think it's one that you can certainly consider. Now, this obviously isn't an Asian tech stock, but it's one of those that I feel like I can communicate to you guys since you follow me so closely. Visa, obviously absolutely beaten to death, but again, it's on a very clear upward trending channel, and certainly it's starting to move through the gears. Optimal entry would have been a breakout above $150, which is where it stalled last year. But I think, as it's starting to move through the levels, it looks like it's been building a bit of a base. You've heard me say the saying 100 times now that, the bigger the base, the higher in space. Obviously, super solid company. So Visa, I think it is one that you can strongly consider. And I think along with PayPal, which is obviously, moving very, very well at the moment, MasterCard, I think if you go and observe the charts, they probably look very, very similar. So certainly, I think you should give those a little bit of consideration. And I've included Roku this week as well because I've had so many messages and emails about this. Certainly, the pullback, as we can see with hindsight, has offered opportunity. We've got a very clear support level at $60. Is it worth taking a buy position at the moment? We're kind of trading in what I would like to call the middle of no man's land. So certainly for me, it's a case of waiting for a breakout above here. But if you're in the trade at the moment, obviously happy days for you. Just be mindful of what happened here. Obviously, we were massively overbought, so a little bit of a pullback would have been expected. But there's a very definitive profit target in place. Maybe tighten up stop losses with a view to maybe moving in back above $80. So as I said at the start, if you're somebody that's maybe struggling with your trading, there might be a couple of things that I can help you with. Or, you might have been watching this and thinking, what the hell is this? This just doesn't make sense, or this just doesn't align with the style of trading that I have. I think when you observe the technical analysis, it probably makes sense to you on multiple levels. That's certainly the feedback that I get whenever I post any of these market analysis videos. But if this is the first time that you've watched my content, I'm Sam and I run honeystocks.com trading school. Now, with my trading school, I publish every single trade idea that I post to my client group. That was 2018. You can jump onto my website and have a closer look. I'm not going to labor the point too much here, but that was 2018. Every single trade idea is published on my website, and that's 2019. So again, feel free to go and scrutinize that if you like, and just see, what exactly it is that I do. But I do get a lot of messages from those of you, from the US and Canada that obviously want to speak to me personally. And because most of the time I'm based in the UK, obviously with time differences and with my calendar, it's not always possible. But the good news is I'm currently working from Mexico City at the moment. I'm going to be here for I think a couple more months. So for those of you that have been wanting to speak to me and communicate with me personally, there is an opportunity for you to do that at the moment. Especially, for those of you that email me with your struggles. Now, I also understand, what the average journey for a trader looks like. Generally, it's 2 years, and you're watching YouTube videos and reading as many books as you can. But I also know that the worst of it is that you could be learning from losses. Now, learning from losses is absolutely soul destroying. I totally understand. If you're in that situation at the moment, you have my utmost sympathy. I didn't always used to be incredibly knowledgeable as a trader. I used to be in those shoes, so I totally understand. And I also have seen it 1,000 times. Eventually, when you're learning from losses, you'll just end up saying that to the market. And although it's a very funny caption, very funny picture, I understand the reality is anything but funny. So if you're in that situation, you should try to understand that at honeystocks.com, it's all about delivering results. And if you jump onto our website and look through all the various client testimonials, etc., you'll start to get a picture for what it is that I do. I mean, if this tutorial, this analysis resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, and you are somebody that perhaps struggles and maybe you want to get a little bit more consistency, there is something that you can do about it. All you need to do is jump onto my website, click apply, just choose a time, but you do need to tell me what you struggle with. Once you book in a time with us, we'll have a really informal, simple chat. It's nothing difficult. It's super informal. It's super relaxed. If there's anything that I can help you with on a call, then I'll certainly do that. But it really does start with just jumping onto the website and clicking apply, choosing a time that suits you, and we can obviously have a conversation and see if we can help you with anything at all. But as always, if you have any questions, then obviously feel free to reach out to me via my many social media platforms. But from the bottom of my heart, if you've stuck around to the end, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.